Hey there, my name is Pravus, and welcome back to more City Skylines in Praetoria. Yes, I am back from my vacation. It is certainly good to be back. I would like to think that you guys are happy to have me back. So we are jumping back into Praetoria to continue building upon this grand megalopolis. Now, last video we were messing around with some airfields and stuff at the Archon airfield, and while this has gotten up to this point and we've kind of learned how this all works, I don't really love it. I feel like the layout of this airport is kind of lackluster at best. It's kind of ugly. Really hate these grass strips between all this. Don't think the layout's efficient. There's a lot more we could do with this. So right now, what I'm going to do is basically delete everything that we've built up. I mean, I might salvage a couple buildings just for the sake of some money, but like, I'm going to delete almost everything and rebuild this from scratch based on what I think would be a more attractive and a more effective looking airport. Boom! Now tell me that's not a more attractive looking airport. Haha! Everything's looking so much better over here. Okay. So I tried to maintain the idea of having a giant loop in order to manage the traffic around our city, and this 6-lane road is going to break up in a couple different directions. 2 lanes heading directly into a set of 3 terminals. I don't think you technically need more than 1, but I mean, I think it looks good, so that's kind of why I did that. Then 2 lanes heading towards some of the airports and the parking lots, and then 2 so you can abort and head back over in this direction if you need to. Though I might rearrange this a little bit. This is an effective way to get out of the this area. They'll just kind of get stuck on the same loop they were before. That's probably not great. We'll come back to that. Anyway, and then from here what I've done is I used some concourses to break up into 3 big hubs where I have several of my planes docking up all along the way. Now, what I would have liked to do if I had the space was set up a handful of terminals over here and then have like a couple of hubs all joined together by an underground train loop. And that way, if these hubs could have had several concourse spikes coming out of them, and we would have had a lot more plane capacity. But I didn't have enough space to work with. You can't delete these runways once they are placed, so we're kind of stuck with this, and frankly, I think this is going to suit our purposes just fine and dandy. Now, one problem I have with this is, I think this is about to go down to level 1. I might be wrong on that. We'll keep an eye on that. Oh, let's go ahead and get some water figured out, because of course I am still going to be needing some of that. Hang on, we do not want to find out that our guys have no water. That would make them all very, very cranky. Okay, problem solved, I think. Boom. Yep, we're down to a level 1 airport because we deleted our existing terminals. Whatever, it shouldn't take us very long to reset all of this. Now, one problem is the airport is so large and now costs a ridiculous amount of money to maintain, and I did spend about $2 million rebuilding all of this, so that's going to be very, very expensive. On the plus side, I did learn about something new that I had not messed with before. There they are. All right, so here are a couple of special-looking planes. These are my own planes. I own an airline now. How exciting is that? Turns out, something I missed is you can place down an airline headquarters building. And if you do that, this tab opens up for a custom airline, which I am, of course, calling Pravus Air, which can have several different types of icons over here. You can change the color that is on your plane, that kind of a thing. All very, very cool. And from here, you can start getting some airline tickets. You could charge people a lot of money, but what it does is start reducing the attractiveness of your airport. If you make plane tickets very cheap, it makes the attractiveness higher, so people are more likely to come to your city in the first place. We'll leave this alone for now. I'm kind of curious to see how much ticket income we can look forward to. Surely not enough to overcome these expenses, but I'm hoping it ends up being worth at least a fair bit. So we'll keep an eye on that. The planes have already got a lot of their passengers. Never mind, they are all empty. A whole bunch of empty planes just spawned. That's completely fine. Who's worried? That's fine. Hang on, let's get a little bit more water figured out, and boom. Okay, problem solved. So I'll let these planes kind of rearrange themselves. Now, what I did do, and the planes have to kind of figure themselves out because they're all stacking on top of each other, is for the taxiways, I did kind of create some one-way loops that go directly to their respective terminals, right? You come down over this way, or you come up and then down over this way, and then they both join up into one outlet before jumping onto the same taxiway, which breaks off into 2 separate runways. So if we let these guys kind of do their thing, we should see that they're going to head to the runways, they're going to take off, and eventually we'll have some new planes start to arrive with lots and lots of passengers, at least I hope. You might be wondering, well, wait a minute, one of the best things that I see here is all the ugly little grass strips are gone. What did you do? Well, I had to get a mod, unfortunately. There are a lot of mods out there for placing down concrete slabs, and this seemed like a great opportunity to do so, because I didn't like the look of having tiny little strips of grass like right between some of this stuff and all over down here. It's just ugly. Ugly as sin. But this looks way more uniform and intentional. It looks like a proper freaking airport, which is awesome. So, we'll just go ahead and let this do its thing. We are already back up to level 2 for our airport. It should not take me very long at all to get up to the 5,000 we need for our maximum thing. Holy crap, am I getting a lot more money than I thought I would. 16,000 bucks? It's not enough to pay for the airport, but it sure as heck makes it a lot more affordable. Dang, dude. Woohoo! Okay, that's awesome. Yeah, no, y'all need your own personal airports, it turns out. Personal airports, airlines, they're good. They actually can subsidize the crud out of this, and we'll end up having tens of thousands of passengers being siphoned into the city thanks to all of this. Now, speaking of siphoning into the city, I did change up the way that people get into the concourses. I kind of feel like the trains that were built into concourses here were intended to get you between different, otherwise unconnected hubs, like you would have in a lot of other major airports, like, let's say, London Heathrow Airport, which I was recently, and it was a terrible experience, but that's beside the point. Instead of having the metro go directly into this airport, you would have them go between each other. That's kind of what I think you're supposed to do. So instead, I'm just having a metro station pop up over here, and then people can walk over as needed over to the proper airport. There's also still going to be taxi systems, and there's going to be buses for people to get around as needed. What are you all doing here floating in space? Oh no! It appears that I have broken the laws of physics by getting rid of that train station. Guys, no! This is not... No! That's not good. There we go. Took a little bit of finagling, but I did eventually find the orphaned line, and I got rid of that thing. So now all the floaters appear to be resolved, which means hopefully they will start making use of the proper metro line. Actually, something I probably could do that might make this a little bit better... there's no crosswalks over here. There's mods where you can install, like, your own personal crosswalks and stuff. I was hoping to find ways to make it faster for people to get to the metro, but you know what? It should be fine. People can walk down this direction. Not a huge deal, right? Anyway, so we'll keep an eye on this, and we'll see if people actually start arriving. So far, I'm seeing lots of signs of people departing the city, but I'm not seeing a lot of signs of people entering the city, which I admit is a little confusing and concerning, and I'd like to know why none of my buses are showing up over here. That seems kind of important. Oh, never mind. All right, one just appeared over here magically. Okay, yeah, no, what we're doing is we're waiting for the citizens to recalculate that they want to go to an airport, and now they're starting to arrive on the desired public transit. Okay, there we go. And it looks like this terminal is going to end up getting pretty much all of the fun, but that's probably fine, right? I mean, it's mostly decorative at this point anyway. Okay, good. So yes, planes should start to spawn. There comes one right there, for example, as people start to arrive. Excellent. Okay, we're gonna be fine, ladies and gentlemen. Just give it a little time, and this thing will get back up to full speed. Down over this way, I did install a couple more unique buildings. We do have a grand mall, and I did place down a clock tower over here as well, just for a little bit of funsy. If we technically want to finish out some of, like, the really big special buildings, like the space elevator, which actually I just realized we have done. That's amazing. We should probably do this. Anyway, we could be trying to unlock various different buildings. For example, if we had a crime rate of over 50%, we could unlock a courthouse, which is necessary if you want to unlock the medical center, which is this one right here. All of this would be kind of cool. The only thing I don't like about these special unique buildings is some of them require that you basically tank a city in some way or another. Never been a fan of that, but, you know, all right, fine. That's something we might be able to do at some point, if we're feeling like it. Oh yeah, I've also decided I'm going to go ahead and bury the road that goes through the Foxytrot City Zoo, because why have it going over and scaring everything and taking up valuable real estate when we can just have it become a tunnel that goes underneath it all? Hooray! Way more effective. What is this symbol? I don't recognize it. Not enough goods to sell. Uh-oh. That means our industry is not quite living up to what people are going to need. We need to start building out some more industry. That is something we've talked about doing, and I do plan on building out a big industrial sector down over this way. We'll have some farming along the river, then a big industrial sector, which can then offload onto the water for various different goods to sell things if desired. And I also might want to rework at least a few of the train stations, not only to drop off goods, but also maybe to drop off passengers a bit closer to the modus ponens district. That said, before we even try messing with that thing, maybe first we should try building the space elevator, since that's apparently an option. And the space elevator is going to be a way of getting a monumental number of people into this city. So, yeah, let's start with this. Boom! All right, we got ourselves a space elevator, ladies and gentlemen. $16,000 per week in order to operate. Now we get lots of tourists. This thing is specially designed just to bring people into the dang tourist district. That's all it's good for. Look at all these people arriving from space. All these people arriving from space! They're gonna get onto my monorails, there's buses nearby, walk another block, you got yourself some metros and so on. This is gonna be great. So this should greatly increase the number of people who are gonna be entering into the city, especially as I continue to build out its attractiveness value, which means we should get enough customers that these people can stop complaining. Anyway, while that's all going, let's go ahead and start working on that industrial district I was talking about. This probably means we're going to need to have at least a couple more residential neighborhoods, not to mention a lot more other stuff. And I'm going to want to have transportation, some sort of public transportation to rapidly get people into the city if that's something they want, so I don't have to build too much commercial. So for instance, let's lay out the infrastructure for this large area over here, which I'm calling the Cannon Fodder Family Farms. I just feel like fodder goes really well with animals and stuff, so that's just what we're gonna go for. Anyway, this is all fertile territory, and I'm not gonna micromanage out a farm like I did at the Corgi Butt Farms, which is over here. There we go. Lost track of this puppy over here for a second. Anyway, we'll just go ahead and let the AI take care of it. It's also going to be a pretty good area for some low-density residential as well. So we're going to go ahead and make you guys self-sufficient, just so we don't have to worry too much about, let's say, recycling and trash needs, since it's kind of far away from our city. I am going to let this be mostly organic and local produce, and then, yeah, most importantly, the farming industry specialization will be located right over here. Anyway, let's go ahead and also set up a district in this general area. And maybe I'll leave this kind of as just like unregulated, like residential or something. But over here, at the very least, we'll start with this as a proper large industrial zone. And this is going to be called the Steinworks. All right, after Wehrstein, which I think actually only had one N, but we'll do this. Anyway, the Steinworks. We actually had this in a previous series. He liked the name. So we're sticking with this thing. This should be fine. Under this, though, I do want to do something like Industry 4.0. There we go. New technologies alter the nature of the industrial workforce. It's meant mainly for well and highly educated citizens, increasing production, but having less jobs overall. I'm fine with that because I haven't taken a look at education in a while, but I am pretty sure that a large percentage of our population is going to be either highly or well-educated, which means there's not going to be a lot of uneducated jobs needed at this point. It makes sense, then, to go ahead and have something in the Steinworks specifically tailored for people in these two categories. So that's kind of what I'm going for there. The Cannon Fodder Family Farm, simply by being agriculture, is going to be pretty good for the low-educated populace anyway. So, yeah, why not have two different types of jobs? Uneducated over here, highly educated over here. Now, before I even bother zoning this area out, though, let's plan for the idea that we are going to be producing lots of goods and trying to ship these back into the city, which probably means one of the best things that I could do would be to get my train line extended off in this direction. We also wanted to have lots of boat connections over here as well. So, let's plan on getting some trains figured out. I don't suppose there is anything that would allow us to connect ships and train yards. I see the cargo hub for sure, cargo hub harbor. Let's see. Oh, there we go. Yeah, okay. So this is a direct way of hooking up the trains to our ships. So this is something I want to do. The question now is, how do I actually get this connected? The shoreline is required. You do something kind of like this. Okay. So we'll probably have a couple of cargo lines at least. Let's do one over here, and then maybe one more off over here, followed by at least one or two regular cargo harbors by truck rather than by train, and that'll be off in this general vicinity. Okay, so that's all hooked up. I still do have a few other services like healthcare and stuff that I'll need to worry about in a little bit, but for now, I think we can go ahead and finally start doing some zoning. Now, the weird thing is, despite the fact that we have high demand for goods, we don't really have much in the way of industrial demand, so that could become, a little bit of an issue, at least at some point. But for now, let's go ahead and start by placing down some zoning close to where we already have some power set up. More or less, anyway. Do something kind of like this. And again, I'm going to leave the avenues as untouched as possible, just to delay some of the traffic from impacting me, if at all possible. I don't know. It's one of those things where if we have a lot of industrial cars over here, the trucks are going to be going back and forth all the time. We might find a big traffic jam along this avenue. Maybe, or maybe not. Foxytrot City Zoo leveled up, okay, which means we now have access to the Monkey Palace and the Giraffe Enclosure, which I am already placing down right over here. We've also apparently got some sort of a fire going through all of this, which seems pretty terrible. I mean, we should have enough fire coverage, so I'm really not sure why we're having so many issues, but apparently we are. Let's go ahead and boost that out with another one of these fire stations. Maybe another one out over here as well would be a good idea. Just to make sure everyone feels covered, because at least at the moment they feel a little concerned about their safety. Which I guess, you know, to be fair, like, yeah, you've clearly got some issues if there's a freaking fire still raging in my tourist district and no one's done a dang thing about it. Oh, well, anyway, we should be able to solve this eventually. The traffic shouldn't be the issue. It's just a matter of actually getting the dang fire trucks over here. You guys are lazy. Get over here and say, oh my gosh, you're letting this continue to rage. Solve it. It's burning down my good stuff. The city arch is on fire, guys. No, like, for real, though. Where... I see one fire truck. Just saved the metro station. Here comes another one. You guys are, like, literally letting this entire place burn, aren't you? You really are. There we go. Finally cut this sucker off. Frick me. All right. Well, anyway. Progress has been made with the Foxytrot Zoo. Alas, no major progress has been occurring with the Metho School for Uncommon Dandies. We'll have to fix that at some point. I think one of the easiest things we could do is probably build out a pretty large residential district down over this way. And I think I will go ahead and plan that out now. So let's go ahead and expect this to be basically nothing but residential, and we'll hopefully have good public transit methods of getting these people into the bulk of the city to go and work their jobs and do their shopping. But we're going to call this one Ruby Retreat. Yes, I like that. And as a special policy, we're going to go to city planning here and make sure we turn on the high-tech housing. Increases the upkeep of all of these residential buildings, but increases land value around them. So what kind of industry are we getting now in the Steinworks? You know, I was expecting it to be a bit more, I don't know, kind of high appeal, less polluty and stuff, you know, very high-techy, but I guess high-tech goods still do pollute. So we got things like the Best Parts and the Household Goods Factory and the Print Shop and Bruce Enterprises. Oh my god, it's Batman. It looks like, yeah, all of these do basically require some variant of highly educated and well-educated jobs. I don't see a single basic middle school or uneducated position available. So yeah, that's all going to be a thing. Fun. How are we doing at the Cannon Fodder Family Farms? It is slowly building out. I'm trying to be very methodical about my zoning here to make sure that we don't have too many issues. I want to make sure that I'm not having lots of sporadic zoning everywhere that I can't keep track of from a power and water perspective. For the most part, that's all looking good. We have quite the crisis as far as not enough goods to sell over here, and I don't think I really understand why that's the case. Because traffic's not an issue. We should be able to deliver goods here without any problems. Interesting. All right. Well, how are we doing at the regional airport? Looks like we're doing pretty good for the most part. Definitely have a lot of people who are piling up, but the buses seem to have taken care of just about all of it. The metro's taking care of the rest. We have served how many people since we rebuilt? Oh, about 27,000 people. All right, no problem. Income is not quite enough to overcome our expenses, but if I raise up ticket prices just a smidge more, that should be more than enough, so we'll actually start making money on this. Passenger seats, it's kind of important to note that most passenger seats are being used, so we're not wasting a lot of capacity on these planes, which I would say is probably good. And a pretty hefty number of these people are actually incoming to the city, which means we're getting a lot more tourists. So that's also good. How are we doing with the space elevator? 718 passengers introduced into the city from the space elevator as of last week. Buses are trying to pick up some, metro taking care of the rest, and other people are going to head toward things like the monorails and so on. So we're definitely introducing a lot more people. More local to the space elevator, I am seeing that people are spending their money, but we're still not quite able to get people into the tourism district enough to continue sustaining all of these hotel buildings. Yeah, the only way to get around that is basically just we just straight out need more and more tourists. That's it. That's all it comes down to. More tourists solves the problem. How do I do that? I don't know. Unique buildings and attractiveness. That's pretty much all I can think of. There we go. Get this whole grid set up nice and tucked into the highway. Might even include a few little off-ramps onto the highway in a few different locations, just to make it easier for people to get out of here and around. And something new I'm going to try, just for this district that I haven't done anywhere else, are bike lanes specifically. Lots and lots of bike lanes, and a policy specifically to encourage biking, so that hopefully people are able to get around without using cars too much, at least to whatever mass transit system I set up in order to get these people to the main city. So one reason I want to try that is just because it doesn't require a lot of infrastructure. You don't have to have like a special, like tram car depot and other stuff in order to keep this place supplied. And also, because I just spent a fair bit of time in Amsterdam and I got to watch people go biking all the time, because in Amsterdam, I'm pretty sure there are more bikes than people, I just kind of want to see how it works, I think that was one of the things I really enjoyed about touring Amsterdam, is it is actually pretty darn well designed to deal with cars, trams, and with bicycles. So I kind of want to emulate that, at least a little bit. It was better laid out in Amsterdam than most of the cities I went to, I can tell you that much. Whoa, 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 whoa! I don't think I've ever seen this before. Holy crud! Okay, I seem to have created a massive train jam. Massive train jam. Jeezums, what is this? Yeah, okay, well, is there any good way to get around that? Because it's not like you can add extra lanes to a train track, much as I wish you would. Could create a train line to try and get people around, that'd be more dedicated, that could be kind of good. Wow, yeah, okay. There's a lot of goods that are trying to be delivered. No wonder we're having trouble getting people to get their goods. Everything's completely blocked up. Well, let me think about where they're all trying to go. It looks to me like they all want to go in this direction, and a lot of them are trying to drop off here, where we can see that we've created another big truck jam over here as well at the Corgi Butt Farms. So that's part of the issue, at least. I think that for some reason, a load of goods are being delivered over here. They're trying to transport up to the Corgi Butt Farms, get onto a truck, and then get out to the highway to get delivered, but that's not the most effective way to go. It'd be better for them to try and drop off goods, let's say, down over here, but we don't have anywhere near the same amount of cargo issues in this area. Though we do have some. I mean, you can see that some trains are arriving. They got plenty of trucks of their own to get delivered. Like, that's our issue. We're no longer having problems with trying to transport people from place to place, though tourism is still always suffering. What I'm now completely struggling with is figuring out how to get goods from place to place. And I have to wonder if the toll roads is part of what's causing the issue. Do you think? Could it be that in my desire to eliminate the traffic at some of these highways, I've made it harder for trucks to get where they need to go, so they're resorting to weirder methods, like using trains and then getting in through over here at the Corgi Butt Farms? Maybe, but if I saw more traffic going through here, I would be more inclined to believe it. I don't know. Some weird's going on, and this is going to really mess up my economy and my growth until I can get it figured out, but I'm going to have to come back to that later. Thank you all very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Hope you're happy to have me back. If so, I'd ask you to hit that like button, leave a comment, subscribe, make sure you hit that notify bell, and I will see you guys next time.